Good morning. I've been slacking just because I'm lazy. I've been dreaming many dreams every night, and I just haven't taken the time to record my dreams because I've chosen to sleep for the extra 10 to 40 minutes instead of doing the recording. So, since the gym is closed, since everything is closed because of the coronavirus, I suppose I have time. um, So last night I had a dream that I was gonna get into a hot tub. There was like this hardware store in a strip mall, and I went there to go use their hot tub. And they had a hot tub display in front of the window, but I guess if you had a membership, you could go and use the hot tub. And I was stripping down to get in, and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of awkward to be naked in front of all these customers." Oh well. So I stripped down, set my clothes on the rail, set my towel on the rail, and I got in. And then there was two other people that came in and got in at the same time, and it happened to be Justin Bieber and his wife or girlfriend or something. And we just kind of casually talked, and I guess they were going to be staying in my hometown for a little while. And I thought, well, since everything is closed down, I mean, not like there's much to do in my small ass town anyway, but I know where all the secret swimming holes are. So if you want to go swimming with me, call me. And they ended up going on a hike with me down to one of the secret swimming holes, and it morphed. And it was the swimming hole that I remember, but it was much more epic. It was surrounded by all these cliffs, and it was very deep, and the water was green and beautiful. It was amazing, and I got to swim. It was really fun to swim in my dream, and they had to call their manager because they were having a really fun time and wanted to like camp overnight at the swimming spot. And then the dream morphed, and there was the swimming hole over here, and then there was like this plain of dried grass, and there were some trees here and there, and we were surrounded by a really tall cliff, and there was like some buffalo way in the background, and I was with this Native American tribe that also was about 60% black people in the Native American tribe, but they were dressed as Native Americans, but they were also wearing these big baboon skins, and they had made the tail stiff so it like waves around when you jog with it. It was actually really terrifying, and I have a little bit of a phobia around monkeys. They really fucking scare me. And but in this dream, for some reason, I even noticed, I was like, I'm usually terrified of this stuff, but I'm doing all right. But they used that for hunting and for getting closer to animals that they were hunting and stuff, and it worked. And what else? There was this huge, huge tree. The trunk was like the size of a room in a house, and that was in the middle of this dry grassy field. And I'm like kind of putting this all in a nutshell because lots of stuff happened, but I just need to remember the big details. And Justin Bieber and his lady, where they would swim and then they'd come out and dry off in the sun and interact with the natives, and I wasn't really talking to them. I turned into this black woman, this very petite black woman with like a buzz cut, and I noticed that I had changed bodies when I was watching this person in this bulldozer type thing start like tearing down the cliff. And then I looked up, and farther up the cliff there was a road that was being made, and there was one house, and I thought, oh no, the Californians are moving in. And I looked on the opposite side to the other cliff, and there there was this group of kids that were dressed. They were from 19, I don't know, late 70s to early 80s, and they were school kids, and they had, apparently there was a school over the other side of the cliff, and they knew a secret pathway to get from the schoolyard down to this swimming hole. And I talked to them a little bit, and they were part of one of the families that were just moving into this area and kicking out the natives and flattening the ground, basically taking away all the trees, tearing down the cliff, and building roads. That's how I found out that was all happening. I mean, I could see it, but then I got an actual story from people. And there was this, so I saw this bulldozer, or this equipment thing, construction equipment, tearing down the cliff, and then he was coming for that tree, and we were all freaking out. The whole tribe was freaking out, because that's where we got our life source and our pretty much our everything, and how we knew what to do. We would go and talk to that tree, we'd pray with that tree, we'd meditate with that tree, we'd leave offerings for it. And because this tree was like thousands of years old, the fucking trunk was huge. It was huge. And so I went in there and I sat in the tree to try to protest, like, oh, maybe he won't cut down this tree if I'm in it. And I went there and he started cutting it down. Oh. Anyway, and I climbed down to the middle of the trunk, and I reached my hand out for his hand, and I became fairly lucid at this point. I was able to think of things to say and try to reach this person emotionally, and say, this is what this tree means to us, and this is what you would be doing to other people. And I was trying to speak to his humanity and his emotions, and let him know how wrong what he was doing and the effect it would have on people, and try to make him see us as well, like humanize us in his eyes. And he said, well, this job, there aren't any other jobs, and this job pays me 3 months worth of wages for 1 day of work, so how can I not have this job? And then I was like, well, I understand, but also think about what you're doing to other people, and is money worth it? And just talked to him, and I cried and was just trying to soften his heart, as they say. And I asked him his name so I could hold his hand and say his name while I was talking to him. And he was hesitant, but then this Native American, or maybe Latina, beautiful young girl came around the corner and looked at him and put her hand on his shoulder, and she said, it's okay, you can tell her your name. And I don't know if sorry, my cat just came to the door, and she's holding a toy, and it's really cute. So I don't know if she was his partner or his girlfriend or something. There was some sort of romantic attraction there. And he's like, okay, my name is Florence. And so I said, oh, well, Florence. And then I continued on my talk with him. And he did eventually, he said, okay, I can't guarantee anything, but I'm going to try to talk to my company and see if I can convince them to leave this tree here. And we all celebrated, and it was a good thing, and we were all happy. And then we all went swimming again, and that was the dream. Then I had another dream that this was set somewhere in the early 1800s, maybe earlier, and there was this farmhouse that was, I think, one of the first homesteads, if not the first homestead, on the Oregon Trail, somewhere on the Oregon Trail. I don't know if it was in Oregon or not. and my family had made a store and like a little cafe and like a little place that people could stop and get goods, get cleaned up, get fed, and then go on their way. And we had a bigger family, but at this point it had come down to just myself and some sisters of mine, and one of them had some children, but the men had died, like her husband had died, our brothers had died, and so it was just us now. And we were running this thing, and it was very strange for women to be running a restaurant by themselves and running a store by themselves, and that was a central part of the dream. And I had a 3D printer, even though it was like, I don't know, hundreds of years ago. And I was printing these little belt buckles that you would put a ribbon, you'd string with a ribbon, and then you'd wear around your waist. And one of them said lady, and my sister kept trying to stop the 3D printer, saying, that's not proper, women shouldn't wear such big belt buckles because that's ostentatious and it's not ladylike. And she went to the other room, and I printed them again, and one of them said lady on it, and it was this big belt buckle. And then I went to our precious ribbon stash, and this was, in the dream, they were very special. It was very special to have these, like, hand crocheted ribbons. So I got a pink and white striped ribbon, and I strung the belt buckle on there, and I tied it around my waist, and then I went to work. And people were staring at the belt buckle, and they were like, oh, OMG. But I went around, and I took everyone's orders, and I was like, I dare you to say something, motherfucker. I dare you to say something. I didn't say that, but I was looking at them like I was going to. And then, like, day turned into night, and in the middle of the night, down in the cellar, we had a brooder box of chicks. And then I heard them get out, so I went down in the cellar, and I had a candle, and I set it down, and instead of baby chicks, there was a bunch of adolescent ducks that had gotten out, and they were everywhere, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I was picking up the ducks and putting them back in the brooder box, and then I also noticed there was a giant pig down there, and I was like, you're not supposed to be there. And its skin looked kind of weird, its eyes looked kind of weird, and it was just standing there staring, unblinking. And then I disappeared, and I turned into a child. And then all of a sudden I was a child sitting on the steps with a candle in my hand. And I was looking out, and I was looking at the pig, and the child looked very unsure. And then he set the candle down and got 2 rocks and went clack, 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 kind of like at the pig to see if the pig would react or blink or anything. And then this voice from out of nowhere, it was a woman's voice, came through, and it was the child remembering what someone had said to him. And if I would have recorded this earlier, which of course I should have, I think I would have been able to remember what the voice had said, what the boy was remembering. It was something about, and it rhymed too, something about a noise happening and someone reacting or not reacting, and then that's how you know it's either this or that. And since it didn't react, it kind of scared me. I was like, oh no, according to that rhyme, this pig is gone. It's alive, but it's not alive. And then I looked closer to it. I didn't move because I was this little boy at this point, and I was too scared to like get in this pig's face in case it tried to eat me. And I kind of leaned closer to see its eyes, and they were clouded over. Yeah, and that was it. And I woke up. I had some other dreams, but I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to do a self-workout, I guess. Yeah. I guess I'll go do calisthenics or something. Man, this coronavirus thing sucks. But at least I'm not sick, and I'm not dying, and I don't know. We'll see if it's all hype or if it really is serious. I know a couple thousand people have died, but it's, I think, like 3,500 people worldwide have died compared to the tens of thousands of people that have been dying of the flu every year. So I don't know. I don't know what to think. All right. See you guys later.